They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
Saber que el tratamiento es completamente gratis nos quita una preocupación de encima.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything will be taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. You know, everybody, the Hot Stocks Apple or Google, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What people don't understand is every stock is the same. If the institutions buy it, it goes up. If they don't, it goes down. It doesn't matter the name. That's why we use charts to identify money in, money out. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. We're hitting a new year, and you should, at the same time, come in with a new attitude, a new philosophy that you're going to make money when the stock market goes down. That's right. This is the third bubble, and you don't think it's going to crash? The first bubble did. The dot-com, the second bubble, the housing and financial con. Why do you think the third bubble, which is twice as big as the two previous bubbles, is any different? It's not different. Matter of fact, it's worse. It's going to go down faster. The stock market is going to go down 50%. You're going to lose 50% of the money you have in the stock market. You're going to lose 45% of the equity you have in your home. You're going to lose 30% of the money you have in your savings. Yes, you are. Trust me. Join my gang, Phil's gang, so that we can show you how to benefit, how to profit. But you can't just sit there and own a stock. You got to learn how to short the market. Join my gang. Learn how to short. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch The Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to The Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. I'm going to tell you something about your 401k that you don't know. You know the 401k is a tax code? That's what it is. Here's how it worked. In the 80s, you had pension funds, but they decided to give their CEOs a benefit on top of the pension. It was called 401k. That was to shelter their income. That way they could keep the CEOs because it was very competitive. But when all the jobs were shipped overseas, they no longer could keep pension funds. Too expensive. So they shifted all their employees to a 401k, duping you, thinking it was a good deal. But what they did is they charged hidden fees, which amount to about $250 billion a day, that they gave to lobbyists to go to Washington to make sure that this 401k would never be transparent. Here's what came of it.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
That's right. So join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
AMVA, and I've lost over 30K on it, but it had excellent earnings the last several quarters, and if they make the cameras and drone equipment, I don't know why it's so weak these days.
It's so weak these days because you don't pay attention to what they make. You don't care about their earnings. The problem is the institutions are pulling their money out, and that's all you need to know, and that's what we identify in the chart, and that's why I become a Phil's Gang member.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Do you ever notice they always tell you to buy, but they never tell you to sell? They never tell you to sell. Well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you understand. When you buy a stock, and if all you do is buy, and you never sell short to make money where they're going down, you have to be so good. That means you got to buy the companies that are always going up. Nobody's that good. Nobody could possibly be that good. You got to make money Just like you make money when you buy a stock, you got to make money when a stock goes down. That's how you even the playing field. That's how professionals make money. They make money going up and make money going down, but they don't tell you that. They just want you to try to make money going up. They don't want you to make money going down because they make that money on you. Join my gang, Phil's Gang. Learn how to short stocks at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
Remember, you're picking right on what Art was saying. Just a few weeks ago, many were convinced we're on the verge of recession, but this better-than-expected ADP payroll number adds to a string of better reports, suggesting that, in the words of Monty Python, the expansion is not dead yet. Total private by ADP rising 214 versus an estimate of 185,000.
Unbelievable. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. That's Steve Leisman, we call him Leisman. What's wrong with this guy? He's coming out and saying the numbers for Friday, or the ADP number. Remember, we get two sets of numbers. We get the ADP, which is kind of a guess, and they're telling us it's going to be 240,000. Very rarely are they right, because when the actual numbers come out on Friday, the first Friday of every month, they're very, very rarely right. But here's the point. The 240,000 that he's claiming, the ADP number for Friday, what he's not telling you is 208,000 are service jobs. Lousy service jobs. What good are they? What is it with these people they don't understand? We've reached the point with our economy, we're just complacent. We're complacent with an economic growth of 2%. Which, by the way, is not 2%. And they keep saying GDP 2%, economic growth, GDP 2%. That's a total fallacy. They manipulate inventory. If they didn't engineer and they didn't manipulate the inventory, our real GDP, our real economic growth, what we're producing, what we're selling to everybody every quarter, we'd be lucky if we hit 1%, never mind 2%. But let's use the 2%. That is horrible. This country should have a 4% economic growth, which would give us 385,000 jobs every month. Instead, at this terrible 2%, we're really averaging about 175,000 jobs. It's just crazy how they make up stuff. And this is why hopefully we get a new president that fixes this mess. Go down to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and clean it up. Stop the game playing with these numbers. It's crazy. Now listen to this.
We've seen a lot of really good economic news in the past couple weeks, and also some really good revisions where the consumer is spending more, particularly for December and January.
Really, we've seen a lot of good news. Let me give you some good news we just got. Real good news. These jibber jabbers are pathetic. They try to take parking space in our heads. Chicago PMI for February just came out. And what is that? It measures the health of our manufacturing and industrial production, especially our durable goods, like how many like appliances, widescreen TVs, machinery, computers, communication equipment. That's the Chicago PMI. That's what it measures. And it measures how healthy our productivity is, how healthy our manufacturing is. It is one of the worst numbers since 2009. But she comes on, jibber jabber, and will lie and say something as ridiculous as that. We just got the Dallas Fed manufacturing number. Came in at a 6-year low. What, are you nuts? And declined for the 13th month in a row. Now, the Dallas Fed manufacturing number, that measures all of Texas, how they're doing economically, and horrible. They're doing horrible and getting worse. Let's talk about pending home sales. The biggest drop in 2 years. How could you have the biggest drop in 2 years when we had the lowest mortgage rates in history? How could that be? Well, let me explain why. Because it's the jobs. What drives housing is jobs, not part-time jobs, but good jobs. And what drives housing is first-time home buyers. They're about 40% of the number. They're about 40% of the growth. When things were good, we had the housing boom. 40% of the numbers that came out every month were first-time home buyers. They're the first ones on the ladder, the first rung on the ladder. And then every 5 years, they switch, they move up, somebody else moves up. They're now living in their basement. They're living in their cellar with their parents because they can't get a job. They have all kinds of debt, student debt. And so that whole group, that 40%, let's use 40%, those sales are gone. And they cannot be replaced. Who's going to replace it? You can't replace those sales. So when they come out on this Friday, they're not going to tell you what I am telling you. They're not going to tell you that. They don't want you to know the truth. So we have a terrible Chicago PMI. That means our productivity, our manufacturing, our industrial production sucks. Dallas Fed manufacturing, we always take the Dallas area because that's huge to this country. Texas sucks. Pending home sales, drying up because we don't have enough meaningful jobs. Every job is part-time. I just gave you the numbers. The ADP number coming out, he just said it's going to be 240,000 new jobs in this month and Friday. Only 208,000 are part-time. Pending home sales dropped. Now let's get to some stores. How about Kohl's? KSS, Kohl's. They just announced 18 stores. They're closing 18 stores. And now Colorado-based Sports Authority, we just learned today, is filing for bankruptcy. They're going to close about 140 of their 463 stores right now. They're going to start right away. And yet, this Aaron Gibbs who goes on CNBC has the nerve to come out and tell you.
We've seen a lot of really good economic news.
Really? You know what? They know that people don't research. They know that people, what's the word? They'll listen to anything. They have a herd mentality. Thank you, herd mentality. They just come up with phony stuff. So Kohl's, 18 stores. Colorado Sports Authority filing bankruptcy. And here's another thing that's very interesting that they're not going to tell you on Friday. Not going to tell you. 1 out of 3 Americans has zero in retirement savings. 1 out of 3. Or that 14 million, they're not going to tell you this, 14 million Americans are out of work. And they're not included in the 4.9% unemployment rate, which we will get on Friday. The real unemployment rate's 22%. You know that, I know that, but they're not going to tell us the truth on Friday. And you also can bet they're not going to report on Friday that of the 7,760 banks, when under Bush and Obama, those two administrations, 500 of them closed. And of the remaining banks, the FDIC says only 11% are insolvent, when the real number is 33.8% are insolvent. They do the same thing with that number they do with the unemployment number. They jig it up. More when we get back, and we'll take a look at some stocks. It is now 15 past the hour on Phil's Gang. Subscribe to Phil's Gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande.
Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
I think that the stock market was probably really telling us recession, right? It's we had a huge correction, but you're absolutely right. I think the good news is the private sector is doing better. And
the world's largest retailer is downsizing. More than 100 Walmarts around the country Thursday shut their doors forever.
That's unbelievable. Welcome back to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember, you can subscribe to my site. Go to philsgang.com right now. And let me give you the number, 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-GANG. And Denise will be there to take your phone call, or Stephen. It's only $49.95. And it's a wonderful program, especially for people who are so busy. And the best program for you is our Working Investor program, because we do everything for you. And it's the S&P 500. It's a basket of the 500 best stocks. Not only can you buy them, make money when we have a buy signal, they go up, but we also sell them short when they go down. When we had a 14% correction, we shorted them and had a 14% return. The 500 best companies in one basket, the fees are almost nothing. You cannot make money with the fees they charge you on 401ks. It's criminal. It's criminal, these fees they charge you. In any business, it's about fees. It's about cost. But they'll tell you, your money manager, your planner, oh, don't worry, it's about what you're making. Don't worry about the fees. It's all about fees. What good of getting good dividends if your fees are wiping out the dividends? It's ridiculous. It's all about fees. On the S&P 500, wonderful stocks. It's a trust, one basket of stocks. You can go short and you can go long. And that is the key. Now, what we are doing also is we're working now with refiners. I believe the refiners are going to make a move. I told you this about about gold. I said this in December about gold. I said, I think gold is where we're going to make a lot of money in 2016. And right now, our gold mining stock, AU, is up over 40%. Also, we took U.S. Steel. Nobody wanted anything to do with U.S. Steel. It was in February. It's up 36% now. We identified two buying opportunities for our subscribers, February 4th and February 17th. They had what we call a buy signal. It's a W formation signal. It tells you when the institutions are accumulating the stock. These are the institutions that own the stock, that own the majority of the stock. And when they start dumping, the charting, today's technology tells us, hey, they're taking money out. Do you remember in May of 2015 when I warned, I said, boy, I've never seen so much money coming out. And then in July, the last week, I said, I reported, I've never seen this kind of money coming out of the market. Institutions are pulling money out. I said, I've never seen anything like this. This market is going to correct. And she did. She went down 14%. Now, you don't have time to do any of that research. That's what we do for you. It's a wonderful program. All we ask, if you do well, please send some money to St. Jude. Now, the program, once you join it, just ask for, when you join and become a member, just tell me you want to find out about the Working Investor program. Now, if you're already a gang member, you already have that program. So don't call and ask about the new program. We already have, you're already in. If you're a gang member, every gang member gets that program automatically. Now, we are talking about the information that we get from these dopes. And we're going to get more information on Friday from these dopes on CNBC. They're never going to tell you the truth. I've never seen such dishonesty as when I listen to these people on CNBC. It's amazing. These are letter writers, newsletter writers. These are 401k managers. They never tell you the truth. Now, they're trying to make us think we have this big recovery. I just told you. How could you have a recovery when you got numbers like this? The Chicago PMI. Terrible. And remember what that is. That's your durable goods. And the Chicago PMI is the best measure to find out how healthy our manufacturing and our industrial production is in this country. It's terrible. Worse since 2009, but you won't hear that. The Dallas Fed manufacturing numbers at a 6-year low. Pending home sales, biggest drop in 2 years, despite historic mortgage rates being the lowest mortgage rates ever. Kohl's announced 18 store closings. Walmart store closings. It's amazing. Sports Authority closing 140 stores. We're being told by Wall Street, by CNBC, things are wonderful. Now, here's an interesting thing. The banks. We talked about the banks before the last break. And we're going to take a look at some banks right now.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com, click on the video channel graphic, and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
Bank stocks have been very, very weak. Terrible. In fact, one of our 5 stocks that we follow every day, all year, is Goldman Sachs. We had a sell signal in Goldman Sachs. This is one of our 5 stocks. So when you become a subscriber, you'll be following these 5 stocks with us. We told everybody that we had a sell signal. A sell signal was around November 13th. It was around $196, Goldman Sachs was. It dropped down to $139. That's a 29% drop. We were able to identify when the institutions were pulling money out of Goldman Sachs, and then Goldman Sachs went down. What we say it was went down about 29%. Now, what's wrong with that? See, that's what you need. Now, when it starts going back up, we'll have it. We'll catch it. Now, it hit 139. Today it's trading around 150, but we're not buying it yet. Why? Because it's going up for the wrong reasons. Now, our technology would tell us when it's the right reasons. When we see the institutions that buy most of Goldman Sachs starts buying, we will know. And that's why you should subscribe to our gang, Phil's Gang. We'll be right back after this break. More stocks, and boy, do I have a story for you.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi,
Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
A slow economy, and it is a slow economy, Austin. You know it is a slow economy. Isn't that good for Trump?
Yeah, I agree with every word you said there. And look, Trump has proven remarkably adept at just changing what he said to be 180 degrees from what he said previously and claim credit. So in China, he went for years saying China's eating our lunch, and then China goes into meltdown and he says, see, I told you China was going to hurt us.
Wait, we have a lost decade of U.S. GDP growth, just 2%. Haven't seen that since World War II. So how does Hillary Clinton play it? Does she attack President Obama's bad policies for creating these issues? Because, healthcare costs still going up,
you just
wiping out wage
Austin
gains.
Goolsbee. You said bad policies. He's the architect of these policies. You're not going to take that line down.
I appreciate that you say that, Stuart. I appreciate that you...
And that's true. Goolsbee is. And now he's at a college teaching. See, that's what I like about these professors. They leave. They first go to college, right? They teach at some college, and then they leave and they go work for administration. They screw it all up and they go back to college. It's unbelievable, isn't it? These college professors, no common sense. They never operated a business. So Goolsbee, he's right. Goolsbee leaves college, goes with Obama, who knows nothing. What did Obama know? He knew nothing. And I get so angry when Obama stands there, so condescending, talking about how Trump doesn't have what it takes to be president, doesn't have the experience. What experience did he have? Community organizer? And another thing, when they attacked Trump, and boy, I love Trump, and the way he handled the Ku Klux Klan question was stupid. But wait a minute. Enough is enough. Maybe he was just tired. I don't know. But it was dumb. The narrative should have just said, he should have kept the narrative. No, look I hate the Klan. I hate Duke. And I have nothing to do with it, and that's the end of it. But maybe he got tired. I don't know. But wait a minute. What about, and they kept after him and after him and after him about it. Disavow yourself. Disavow yourself. But how come when it was Obama with the minister, what's his name, the minister, can't remember his name now, the crazy minister, the wild man, they asked him once and that was it, but they weren't on him every day. I mean, it's just crazy. But let's get back to the business side of things. So Goolsbee, they introduced these terrible programs. We have never gotten out of the recession. Jeremiah Wright, thank you. We've never gotten out of the recession. When we collapsed, the dot-coms collapsed, the housing market collapsed, we never fixed it right. We interfered with the free market. We didn't let the free market system work and capitalism work. We should have taken these banks, let those banks go out of business, take the assets, spread it among all the other banks who are willing to take the assets, and clean this thing up. Let these recessions do what they're supposed to do. Don't interfere. But we interfered in the dot-com recession, and then we interfered in the housing and finance recession. We never let them complete their job. Keep going down. And let's take the banks. You think on Friday when they do the jobs report, they're going to tell us about the banks, the truth about the banks? That we have 7,760 banks? As I told you a moment ago, under Bush and Obama, 500 banks closed. And the remaining 7,760, these remaining banks, we're being told by the FDIC that only 11% aren't solvent. That's a total lie. 33.8% of the 7,760 banks remaining are not solvent. 33.8% are not solvent. They're lying about their percentage like they lie about the unemployment rate being 4.9% when we all know it's 22%. Here's what they're doing. A bank in Phoenix, Arizona, just give you an example, has on the books an 18-store strip mall. An 18-store strip mall. There's not one tenant in the strip mall. There hasn't been one tenant in that mall for 7 years. And they have it on the books a value based on mark to model of $22.8 million. And what's that mean, mark to model? The gangsters changed the accounting rules in 2008 when the market crashed. they said the banks, they can mark up their own assets, decide what value they are. So here's this shopping mall, strip mall. They got on their books $22.8 million, even though the last three offers that came in under mark to market mean market. Someone offers you for your house, that's market value. What you sell your house for is market value. You sell your house to someone, that's market value. The customer who buys your house determines the value of your home. But here, under this new rule, under the banking rule, where the bank could determine whatever value they wanted. So here's the bank, sits there with this asset for 7 years, not one tenant, and they're claiming they have an asset of $22.8 million when three offers came in, one at $6.7 million, another at $7.1 million, another $6.5 million. That's the true value. But they will not sell that asset. Why? Because if they sell it for $7 million, they got to write off the difference between 7 and 22. So the bank's not going to do that. They have it on their books. They leave it there. And we're talking about just this one bank. We're talking about 7,760 banks playing the same game. So there you have it. So the banks in this country, most are insolvent. We are not being told the truth. That's why when this market collapses this time, it will be a doozy. It will be a doozy. Now, the 5 biggest banks actually increased their assets after the 2008 crash. They increased their assets. They now own assets the equivalent to 2/3 of our GDP. While they are increasing their size, the size of their banks, over that same time, the financial worth of the average American on Main Street is declining. While their assets, their worth is accelerating. What is with that? So the 5 banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citi, and Wells Fargo, whose assets grew to the equivalent of 2/3 of the GDP, they have $7 trillion in deposits. Yet the FDIC, who's supposed to be insuring the $7 trillion that's on deposit, the FDIC can't, they insure, but they don't have enough money to cover the $7 trillion. So here you have the FDIC, who's supposed to be insuring the $7 trillion on deposit of these banks, and guess what? They don't have the money. The FDIC is insolvent. So, and then these same banks who were bailed out by their retail tax-paying Main Street customer, the banks no longer service them. The banks won't give them a loan. Try to get a house loan. Try to get a business loan. You can't get a loan from the bank that you saved, that you bailed out. Now, these banks, at the same time, are announcing record profits. But yet they're only offering the customer near 0% interest on their savings account. Are you nuts? This is crazy. So the retail Main Street customer, the taxpayer who bailed them out, can't get a house loan or a business loan, even though they're making these kind of profits. As a result, we have 100 million Americans making just $39,000 a year. Their incomes are going down because without savings, you don't have investment. You know, you need savings to grow so we can invest and invest in small businesses to hire people. You get more wages and so forth. As a result of the system, what's going on, 100 million Americans are making just $39,000 a year. Another 72 million Americans are making $25,000 a year. Are you nuts? Consumer bankruptcies are up to record highs. Food, college, healthcare, housing, all going higher. And they're telling us everything's just fine. What are you, nuts? We'll be right back. 23 past the hour here on Phil's Gang. Subscribe to my gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
point on the chart that Wall Street is going to try to force the market to, and they're almost there. And then they'll sell into that target called the 200-day moving average. Subscribe. Please subscribe to my site, philsgang.com. Help St. Jude. We will help you. It's a wonderful program. It's only $49.95 a month. And the best part of the program, I believe, for people really busy, are the Working Investor program, where we work with you every day. You have a personal coach on the S&P 500, Exchange Traded Fund, S&P 500, called the Spider. That's the one you should be in if you're very, very busy. Part of that group, we are now following the refiners. The refiners got hit 40, 50, 60%. Big, deep discounts. We will find, the minute we find the buy signal, our subscribers will know, just like we did with U.S. Steel. We found the buy signal in U.S. Steel. It's up now 36%. Same thing with Schlumberger. It's up 17%. That's after we identified first the sell signal, where it went down 28%. Now it's up 17%. Caterpillar went down 21%. It's now up 18%. IBM went down 18%. Now up 11%. So we catch both sides of the transaction. I want to help you do that too. If it doesn't work at the end of the month, that's it. You've invested $49.95 in yourself, and that's it. But it does work. Become a subscriber. So you can call right now, 877-600-GANG, 877-600-GANG. It's easy, so easy to do. And you'll say, why didn't I do this long ago? I promise you'll say that. You know, we need a change in this country, and that's why everybody's angry. I was listening to this morning to this guy.
Listen, people talk about anger. What is it that is making people angry? What's making people angry is politicians who make promises they cannot keep, and they know they can't keep. That's Donald Trump. Nobody actually believes that Donald Trump is going to build a great big wall and get Mexico to pay for it.
Oh, wait a minute. He's not a politician. Give him a chance. He hasn't been elected. See, these people who are in the Republican Party, who are the mainstay of the Republican Party, who are the insiders, the leaders, they don't want you to give the guy a chance. How many chances have we given you, the insiders of the Republican Party? How many years have we given you to make a change? Every time we send our Republican friends, we elect them, we send them, they control the House, they control the Senate. What have they changed? Nothing. We still have Obamacare. Look at the budgets. We give Obama anything. The Republicans give Obama anything. Destroying our small businesses, destroying our economy. The Republicans have done nothing. And that's why we got to get back to people like Trump. Self-made men. And I told you, I have, and I very seldom do I ever promote a book. And everyone, please, you got to buy this book. First of all, it's a great book, but for a great cause. It's called Walter's Way. It identifies how this man, at a young age, he's listening to the radio. He hears how the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. He goes down to sign up, and all of a sudden they say, you can't sign up. You can't go because you got TB. Now, TB was a dreaded disease, just as polio was, almost guaranteeing certain death. For 6 years, he was confined to some of the worst sanitariums, including the dreaded Otisville Sanitarium, just north of Manhattan, about 72 miles. Terrible place. The equivalent of the infamous and dreaded Devil's Island or Alcatraz. Just horrible. 6 years laying in bed, this man. And then he finally was TB free. He got out, anxious to start his career. He went to work for a luncheonette. He worked behind the soda cart, the soda fountain. He wanted to go to college. There was no student loans then. The owner of the store, Fritz, said, hey, I'll put up a jar, tip jar, and all the tips can go to you. After a few years, he had enough money. He went to college. We're talking about the man who introduced the fax machine. There's no student loans for him. But here's what's incredible in one of these chapters. This whole book is incredible. Tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit about when he met with MacArthur, how important this man was. So fascinating. After he made his money, he's 90 years old. I mean, you're talking about, huge companies. He moment at the cross, at the site. He got to the site. He had to go after, he's got to climb all these different barriers, and it was just terrible getting there. It was an awful thing, but he finally got there. They helped him. He had an assistant help pull him out of the chair, and they moved the chair, and they put him back. And just incredible what he had to do to get there. Finally, it says in the book, we came to the designated spot. We checked the number. This was it. Plot E, row 13, grave 6. But to my disappointment, we were looking at what disappeared, what appeared to be a blank white granite cross. But I guess this is it, but I can't see the name. I pulled out the poem, I started to read it, and I hardly began when a woman behind me appeared. And she said, take this. She was thin, medium height, and wore a blue raincoat and a scarf so you could hardly see her face. She said, take this. You need one of these, she said. A little cup of moist sand. She handed it to me with a pantomiming rubbing of motion across the center of the cross, telling them how to do it. I then rolled up to the cross in my wheelchair. I rubbed the moist sand on the cross, which I later learned was sand from Normandy Beach, below the bluffs. And there appeared the name Francis Bowman. I then read and finished my poem. And I said a few words in silence to Bowman. I come a long way to see you, I toned, as tears streamed down my face. I know we never met, but I feel we did. And I want you to know that I would have been here, too, if I could have been. But I tried to live a life worthy of your sacrifice. I then turned to thank the woman who gave me the cup of moist sand. She was gone. She disappeared. Where could she have gone? I looked back, 172 acres of open space. She disappeared. This is just one of the many chapters. Incredible. Sperry Company, that's one of his companies. We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow. Please get this book. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. It's so inspirational. It's incredible.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me to make my dreams.
Hi, I'm Phil